Rush Hour in it.
Stopping in, we've been tapping in, we ain't never late. Dropping gems, we've been locking in. Now let's elevate. Took L's to win, running laps again. This is steady race. People's champ, boy, yeah, you know I've been the heavyweight. Stopping in, we've been tapping in, we ain't never late. Dropping gems, we've been locking in. Now let's elevate. Took L's to win, running laps again. This is steady race. People's champ, boy, yeah, you know I've been the heavyweight.
Backstreet Boys. And we are back for the final section. We are here for part 4. It is getting late. We are trying to give you content. It is already 1 a.m. We've decided to merge Hardwood Check-In and the Blitz, and we're just going to call this the Sports Check-In? Sports Center? No, that's the trademark, right?
Definitely.
We'll just call this the Playground. Hey, like that? That was off the top. We do have like quite a bit to get through.
Side of your face.
Oh, you. No, so but we're gonna try to get through these like to make this as quick and digestible as possible because we know
we don't rush. We can get through this.
You know how we can get, especially when we start talking about sports. So like we're gonna do the Hardwood Check-In.
Steve Nash out.
Steve Nash out. I thought Ime Udoka was in. They kind of pump faked us on that one.
Yep. It was like a bunch of I think the president's wife of the Nets was a little frustrated about it and voiced her concerns. I think some of the female employees voiced their concerns amongst other people, and it ended up ruining an opportunity for Ime Udoka. Not that I'm saying I'm on his side or anything like that. I'm just saying that's what ultimately led for them to make the decision to not hire him and stay with the interim coach whose name is
Jacques Vaughn, former San Antonio Spurs point guard.
That's right. Oh shoot. Yeah. I forgot all about that.
Because he wasn't that great. He was like Avery Johnson's backup. Avery Johnson.
Those who don't do coach, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. But he was a long time Tony Parker backup.
Yeah, so is Udoka's career over?
No. He'll get a job. Like once his suspension is over, somebody will get him up there.
So after this whole season he gets a job.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's still technically under contract for the Celtics in general, which is why I was so confused about like the Nets just hiring him outright. I didn't know that they could just do that.
Is he getting paid while he's suspended?
That's a great question. I'm not fully aware of that. I'm going to say more than likely, yeah. NBA players get paid while they're suspended. Why wouldn't their coaches?
Cool. Okay.
I think this raises a bigger question.
Okay.
Ime Udoka stuff aside, we go to the Steve Nash stuff. Brooklyn Nets are a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Was any of that Steve Nash's fault?
No.
What coach?
He's not a good coach, but the plummeting of the team's success is not.
How would we know? How would we know?
How would they know?
No, I'm being like 100% serious. Like, think about this. Ever since he started coaching, the first thing that he did is he gets on a team that already has Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant. He has to deal with Kyrie not getting vaccinated and James Harden not wanting to be on the team and forcing his way out. Then they trade James Harden, they get Ben Simmons, who does not play a game. Then they get to the playoffs where they're one Kevin Durant toe away from going to the next round, and they don't get there. Then they come back this year. Ben Simmons still isn't playing. They are lacking any sort of defense anywhere on this team. Kyrie Irving is now doing like this whole song and dance where like he's being more of a off-court presence than he is an on-court presence. How would we have any way of judging how good of a coach Steve Nash is with the roster that's been put there?
I mean, when you put it that way, I can be a little empathetic.
And that's like my whole thing is like we've seen Steve Nash. We've watched him for 12 to 15 years of his career. We know what Steve Nash looks like. The Steve Nash that I saw this season, I was like, this dude looks like he hates life. I was like, is Steve Nash okay? Type of deal. And it's just like, all that stuff like eventually grades on you, like the whole having to answer questions about so many things. Then not only do we talk about the stuff that happened here, in the offseason, Kevin Durant is saying, I don't want to be here, you got to trade me. Kyrie's saying that I don't want to be here, send me to the Lakers. Kevin Durant's saying get rid of the GM and the coach publicly. Like all this other, like it's crazy, bro. Like how, all right. I've been pretty big supporter of the player empowerment era for the most part, where players are just like taking their careers into their hands and not letting franchises like tank their careers for the most part. James Harden has been one of the worst examples of that. Like with the whole like I'm just gonna like stop playing for the most part until you trade me. Ben Simmons is probably the furthest example of that. What Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are doing like in Brooklyn is insane, bro. Like as a New York Knicks fan, you guys got a lot of trash talk in your direction over the fact that you guys couldn't get Kyrie and you couldn't get Kevin Durant. I now feel like you guys dodged a bullet.
I think so too.
It's like it's crazy.
They gutted the whole team for two guys who probably wouldn't end up being there, and then we'd have been looking like a college basketball team.
And it's like this is without us really getting into like the Kyrie Irving stuff because like. I mean, we've talked about it very briefly, like at one point in time, where it's just like I don't know what it's even worth getting into. Like I feel like you had a couple thoughts that you wanted to get off on it, though.
No, I think a lot of different platforms I've already spoken about it, and if people haven't found the time to do their homework already, is basically an old term called buck breaking. And basically, what they would do is they would find the person who stood out the most amongst the slaves. And if you were the guy who was boisterous and you were defiant and you didn't want to do what they told you, they made an example of you so everybody else knew not to do what you did. And they would try to solve all their problems in one by making an example of you. Because what they're asking of Kyrie is astronomical.
That's the most absurd part of it.
It's out of control.
If I'm being honest. Like,
out of control.
Like a lot of the stuff that he's saying, like I was like when he got suspended, I was like, yeah, you should get suspended for, saying or participating in any of that stuff.
He didn't say anything though.
I guess it was more or less like him spreading like the documentary that like had a lot of Semitic messages in it. And then like he never really apologized about any of it to anybody because it's like
apologized.
What did he say?
I'm sorry.
He did? When? I missed that. If he did, I did not see that.
There was a press conference or something where he apologized for potentially offending someone for sharing the tweet of the video or anything like that.
Okay.
But, I mean, it was not enough for that.
Okay.
It was not enough for that.
Once they got to the point where it's like Kyrie needs to do these 6 things before he can get back on his team, I was like, now you guys are bugging. Like you've gone too far to the other side with it.
Try and break him.
Yeah, it's like he's 100% right.
And in that situation, they're looking at it as a win-win situation. Either he does everything they ask him to do, so he can do what he loves to do, and ultimately they'll probably still make that treacherous for him, or he decides not to do it, and then they think that he slowly fades away, and he's not a part of the NBA anymore. So, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There was what they call it catch-22, right?
There was a fake post. There was like Kyrie told the team that he was gonna he announced his retirement, and like I 100% believed it. Like I was like I've been calling this for the whole time. I was like, I would not be like Kyrie Irving's at the point now where it's like I'm not surprised by like anything that he does, and it was like I was like like Kyrie Irving retired. I was like that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Obviously, I've eventually found out that it wasn't true and stuff like that, and I was just like I just want this whole situation to like kind of go away. And it's like I don't think that it will because like he seems to be very on the platform of like, well, now you guys can't shut me up. And it's like he has a point, but at the same time, it's like I don't think he realizes or cares how much things affect other people as well. Like just in general,
I think through that he's trying to make the point that a lot of people don't care when stuff happens to black people,
which is true.
Like you're not asking for these 6 standards when something happens to a person who's got pulled over and murdered, or you're not saying this is someone who's been like sexually assaulted or called out of their name. With the owners, you were just like, all right, sell your team. All right, but where's the apology? Where's it like meeting with this person or paying out money to HBCU or something like that? None of that's happening. It's just I slowly step away with all your money that you already have, and you just can't be part of this team anymore. Like it's not the same standard, and you're not setting the same obligation for people to take ownership. So like, why are you overly doing it now? Like, if anything, you're kind of confirming some of the stuff that
I think they've 100% confirmed everything that he's been saying.
Like, right, like even to the form, like I know Kanye be wilding with some of the stuff that he's saying, but like if he's saying that you guys are using your power to bully people in certain situations,
and then you use your power
to bully
somebody.
So where's the miscommunication? Where are you saying somebody is wrong? What you're basically telling me is you're mad about the way somebody believes something and the way they see it and their understanding of it, and because you don't like it, you want them to be gone. But this is a place where we're supposed to have freedom of speech, right? Like, you're supposed to be able to say what you want to say, because y'all been walking around and doing it forever, and now all of a sudden that's not a right anymore. So, all right, I've offended you. We can respectfully disagree, and then we can keep it moving, because I don't live with you. We're not attached to each other in any type of way. I get what you're saying, but like, you're literally spreading another form of hate right now. Like, you are tearing somebody's life away to try to prove a point. And what point is getting proven? Nothing. He's not shaking. And even if he does, it's not because that's what he believes. It's because you're trying to take his livelihood away in order for him to say, all right, you were right. And that's not proving a point. That's literally the definition of a bully. And I think that joint is whack.
It is whack. Yeah. Like I said, like, I don't think that there's like a lot of things that he said that like I've disagreed with, for the most part. I just think like the way the whole situation has come about, and I understand like having to be stubborn, like in certain situations. I'm just wondering like how important is this, like, for the most point, for like him to be like such a distraction for the most part. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know that like these players are more than basketball players, and like that's their overall, like, yes, they get paid millions of dollars to play a game, essentially, and it's like we've seen this generation of players become much more than that. Like, you know, like the 90s and the 2000s, like I would say like the early 2000s players for the most part, like they kind of were just basketball players, but a lot of these new guys, like, they are voices, and they have voices of power for the most part. Like, I guess like my whole thing is like where is the proper place for this, or when is the proper time for this? You know what I mean? And it's like when you say it like that, it's just like, is there ever a proper time?
No.
So, yeah,
this is the way you do it.
Yeah.
You put it in a forum when people are uncomfortable to talk about it, and they don't want to address the tough topics, and they rather just shoo you away quietly and make you pay all these fines and do all this extra stuff, and then just keep it moving, and hopefully everybody forgets about it. If you have a private conversation about it, then it never sees the light of day, and then they can act like the conversation never happened in the first place, and then it still go around moving in their whack, weird way that they would like to do so. So, like, why would I not want to put it on Front Street? Like, that's where I get your attention. Look at all the attention he has right now. Look how people are paying attention. Look how people are making videos on TikTok and either taking Kyrie's side or not taking Kyrie's side. He's got a conversation started. And it's a tough conversation that we've been avoiding for years. And until we learn how to have those conversations, things are never going to get better. But I guess you think we would be adults enough to understand that, but I guess not.
So like, where does it go from here?
I mean, if you're asking me honestly, everywhere it's always gone. Nowhere. Nowhere. And then people will say, oh, then why did Kyrie even do all of this if it's just going to go nowhere? It's not going nowhere because we don't want it to. It's because you refuse to budge from your little peak tower where you get to control everything and dictate what happens or admit fault in situations and begin to make real change. No, you like things the way they are because they benefit your standard of people. So why would I want to switch it? Why would I ever want to switch it? Why would I want people to have the same luxury that I have? Why would I want him to have the same power that I have? Like, that's where they at with it.
That's very well said. It's kind of weird to go to basketball talk after this, and I think like that's like the more thing where it's like super uncomfortable because like people have to like, you know, talk about it and then be like, so but the Nets lost last night. Like, you know what I mean?
They won tonight.
I know, like I know they just dropped the 30 burger on you boys. Steve Nash is out.
Steve Nash is out.
Jacques Vaughn is in.
Jacques Vaughn is in. I mean, well, he's already been in.
We talked about how different we talked about it privately, but just how different the East looks right now.
Mm-hmm.
And does this Brooklyn Nets team have enough to make a true run for the top of the Eastern Conference or like to make the playoffs?
No.
So Kyrie Irving
They're
and Kevin
playing
Durant are
team
not
at
in.
most.
Okay, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant aren't good enough.
Kyrie's currently not playing. So
He's suspended. He only got like what, 5 games? Is that what he got?
I don't know how long the suspension is.
I think he only got like 5 games.
Okay. So you're telling me in 5 games he has to come back and play basketball without apologizing to anybody?
I think he has to pay a fine.
He has to do all of those 6 things.
I don't think he has to do all the 6 things. I think that was some.
I'm pretty sure that joint was like an ultimatum.
Was it?
So if he doesn't do those things, they extend the suspension.
I think it was like more of like a request. I think that like I don't even know who made that, because like I don't think it was the Brooklyn Nets who came down with that.
Listen, if that's the request that you're sending me, I'm gonna scan my middle finger on the copy machine 6 times and put them in an envelope and send you my 6 because it's 6 different. You're right. 6 different things they're asking them to do, but it's like, I mean, if it's only a 5-game suspension, Kyrie gets to come back, I'm still saying no. They're a playing team at best, even with Kyrie. I mean, I don't want to say the East is loaded, but teams are figuring it out.
A lot of the bad teams aren't bad teams anymore.
Right. And just having a couple, like, it's clear that we're moving out of that era where you could just have a couple superstars on your team and you run through the league, i.e. the Golden State Warriors. You know what I mean? Like, coming off a championship run, and now these brothers ain't even over 500. Sorry, Pops. It is what it is. All right, but, like, they're like, what, 4-7? 4-8 right now?
4-7.
Right. What are the Nets? They're under 500 as well, even after beating them.
I think after beating the Nets tonight, they're like 4-7.
Exactly. So it's just like, what are we really talking about? Like, the top teams in the East they're in position to stay the top teams in the East, barring any major injuries or suspensions. I see this division going exactly how it is now through the 82 games, and then that's what the playoffs are going to look like.
I think one of the reasons that the top teams remain the top teams for the most part, and the number 1 team in the league is the Milwaukee Bucks.
Right.
And I think one of the things that kind of proves the point that like I'm trying to get at is chemistry matters. And your best player creating a certain type of culture or a certain type of environment matters. And like I know I talked about Kobe Bryant very briefly in like the Redeem Team documentary, and I was just talking about like how I would have hated to be a teammate of Kobe, or like I wouldn't have been a good teammate to Kobe because like he just like his style wouldn't work for me. On the other hand, Giannis is like, who wouldn't want to play with Giannis? Dude seems like an amazing teammate to play with. He loves everybody on his team. He's constantly in these all-star games, like regardless of who's around, he picks Chris Middleton first, like every time, because he's like, yo, that's my guy. Like, why would I pick anybody else? Like, I know that like Jason Tatum is better than Chris Middleton. He's like, I don't care. Chris Middleton's there. Like, that's my dude. Drew Holiday's there. That's my dude. And it was like,
I seen a video of him the other day. He's like, I'm handsome. I got good teammates. I got good coaches. I got a good team. I'm handsome. He was like, God cannot give me everything. You want me to hit threes? I cannot hit everything. I dominate the paint. I got some handle. I cannot hit threes. It's okay. It's all right. I can't have everything. It's like, he's like, I'm cool with that though, but I'm gonna be me. It's like I can respect it.
And it's like to try to bring this in around to just the Brooklyn Nets in general is like, I don't get that from Kevin Durant, bro.
No.
Like I feel like Kevin Durant seems miserable. Like no matter what he's doing, for the most part, like he's just never happy. And it's like, I don't know what it would take to make him true. I feel like even when he was with Golden State and he won those rings, like that first year, it was like 2017. That's probably like the happiest I've seen Kevin Durant like in a long time. And then like, you know, they won it the second time, but it was like you could tell that there was something going on there. And then they wound up losing to Kawhi, and then like that thing breaks up. Like
the way it breaks up. But there's no video of it. But yeah,
it's like, what would it take? What would it take to make Kevin Durant happy? Because like to me, you tried to do the LeBron or the lead GM thing, and it's like run the team the way that you want to do it. Steve Nash was brought in because Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant requested that he be their coach, and even that didn't make him happy.
He needs leadership around him that he can believe in.
Okay.
And the leadership doesn't even have to be a player that's better than him, but at least someone who can guide him through the game. Because he doesn't know how to be a leader himself. He is a nasty basketball player.
He's one of the greatest basketball players we've ever seen.
Yeah, but he's also a child. And I know he's an adult. He is a full adult, but he still behaves as a child would. And he's just kind of like, and it's not just him, there's other players as well, but it's just like, all right, All I want to do is win, and all I want to do is win championships, and by any means necessary. Like, all right, so I'm not going to change the way I behave and how I act and how I lead my team. I'm not saying that he like is wild or anything like that.
Because he's not.
He's not. But it's just like, hey, like every team needs someone who's going to put the team on their back as a leader, take responsibility, and guide guys and push them towards greatness. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't like LeBron, but I say what LeBron does do is take a bunch of guys that you're not supposed to win with and will them to want to win through his leadership.
And they have fun doing it.
And they have fun doing it. Kevin Durant does not have that quality, and that's why he's never happy anywhere he goes, because he can't do it, and he never has a person around him who can do it.
You were saying that stuff. Mm-hmm. And, like, I didn't have this thought before until you just started saying it. Mm-hmm. You know who he sounds like an awful lot like right now?
Who?
Aaron Rodgers. It's like the comparison to, like, him and Aaron Rodgers is because, like, that's what I see. Is like you see, like, Aaron Rodgers throws a pass, and people don't catch it, and he goes like he does like a lot of that. Tom Brady's doing a lot of that now, where they're just like, yo, they're like, yo, what the like, you know, it's everybody's fault but me.
The GOAT, huh?
He's the GOAT, bro. Like, let's keep this. Who's the greatest football player of all time?
I can name a bunch.
A bunch of the greatest football player of all time. There's like one greatest player of all time.
It's not time.
Okay, we can get into that another time because we are trying to speed through these. Yeah, so, like, if I was to try to bring this back up, we're talking about chemistry, so on and so forth. The number 2 team in the East right now is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell's up there, and I know we already brought up like the heartbreak of not getting Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. As a Knicks fan, not getting Donovan Mitchell, how's that feeling right now? Because you were also on here too. You're like, I don't need that. We don't need Donovan Mitchell. What do we need?
I still don't. I still can stand by with the fact that I didn't want Donovan Mitchell. And the only reason I say this is because it was going to cost us too much. Like, Cleveland was in the perfect position to keep their marquee players and still acquire Donovan. That's why it works for them. It wouldn't have worked that way for the Knicks. We would have had to gut the team the same way we did for Melo when we got Melo. And then once Melo was done, we had nothing left to build on. That's the same thing that would have happened with Donovan. He would have been scoring 45 to 50 points a game, and we would have still been losing because he wouldn't have had no help. Like, they literally wanted everybody.
Well, the thing is, like, the Cavs had the building blocks, like, just in general, and they had pieces to trade.
Right.
The Knicks kind of just don't have, like, all that type of stuff. Are there things that you're seeing from your Knicks that you do like, for the most part, though?
Yes. Obi Toppin is growing into his own. He's flying around the court, playing great defense. He's more confident in shooting a three. The other night he missed a three, came right back, shot it from the same spot, knocked it down. RJ Barrett has learned how to not spend all his points in the first half and spread some over into the second half, be a little more consistent. I'm waiting for Grimes to come back. I think that's going to be a big leap. I like Cam Reddish and the way he's growing and how Tibbs is giving him more minutes and trusting him more.
What was the deal with that in the first place? Do you have any idea what, like, I know he was hurt like when he first got traded.
Yeah.
But then it seemed like there was like a thing where it was just like, we're just not going to play Cam Reddish.
Well, the kid Grimes was getting a lot of minutes, and he's currently out right now. So that means those minutes are available. Mm-hmm. So they go to Cam. So it'd be interesting to see how those minutes play out when the kid Grimes gets back. But I'm hoping for the best. I love Money Mitch and the way he is around the boards. I wish he would just like with him putting on the new weight, he seems to move a little slower. And, like, he needs to be pretty close to the rim. And it's a lot of times when he's getting the ball to his hands, he's at the elbow and he needs to work his way in, which leads to, like, turnovers or him putting up a bad shot. So either you got to develop that shot so it gives you an easier lane to get to that shot, or you just have to be more adamant about catching that ball deeper in the paint. I still want to get rid of Pumpkin for it, but by any means necessary. I'm just like I wanted to start the season off on a great note. We played a great game against Memphis. Then he has a reckless foul, shoots a bad shot, and then we end up losing by a few points because he doesn't understand like decision making in the critical parts of the game. Like I feel like at this point he's only playing for himself and not for the squad, just for the next contract. And I'm over it.
You didn't even talk about like your recent acquisition, your boy Jalen Brunson, bro.
I didn't want to talk about him.
Okay. All right.
He's doing what we paid him to do. But like for me, the jury's still all on him. Okay. You know what I mean? Because I'm starting to see. I don't want to compare him to any players because I'm gonna say something and it might stick, and I don't want it to stick. But like his numbers are very up and down. All right, so I can't say there's anything that I'm really impressed with because you give us 20 to 30 points one game, and then you come back and you give us like a strong 12 and you not guarding up. So it's like I need to see the reason why we gave you all this money.
Were you going to compare him to Raymond Felton?
Allen Houston.
Okay. Ooh. Okay. That was a rough one.
Yes.
And the other teams that we're talking about that are struggling quite a bit.
Yes.
I mean, there's no bigger team or bigger story than the LA Lakers.
Ugh.
They
just lost to the Clippers tonight.
They finally decided to take Russ and put him on the bench. Mm-hmm. He looks like he's flourishing.
That was dope.
What?
That was dope. I thought it was dope for several reasons. The fact that the coach made the decision and the fact that Russ was okay with it. Because now he comes off the bench looking like freaking Batman.
Yeah, he looks like Russell Westbrook.
Yes.
It's like, you know what I mean? Like he looks like he's having fun playing basketball again.
Yes, he is.
He looks like he's having a great time.
This man's throwing spinner Rooney dimes. He's shooting the three that nobody wants him to shoot and knocking it down. He's getting to the rim.
He's in rhythm.
Yeah. Yes, he's almost looks like OKC Russ again.
The rest of the roster construction around them is not great.
No.
I know that like a lot of the talk in the offseason and in the beginning of this season was like, when are we finally going to get rid of and trade Russ? Mm-hmm. Is the Russ for Kyrie thing going to happen? So on and so forth. Or is he going to the Pacers and they're getting Miles Turner and like all this other stuff or whatever? It seems like he's one of the most difficult people to trade for in general because like the ends don't really justify the means for getting rid of him. And then like now with his new bench role, like it seems like it's working out like a little bit better. I feel like the problem has actually been Anthony Davis like this whole time is what it's really starting to look like.
I don't know why we didn't figure this out a long time ago. I don't know why people didn't see this a long time ago.
I think because he was so amazing during the bubble season.
Everybody was amazing, though.
They weren't. They really weren't, though. Everybody says that just because, like, two guys that weren't normally amazing looked amazing. But, like, not everybody was amazing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, like,
okay.
Let's put a kibosh on that real quick.
Okay. Anthony Davis is a shell of his own self.
Absolutely.
He looks stay healthy.
Defensively, he looks great.
Every time he goes to the floor, the whole stadium gasps. Is it his toe, ankle, foot, knee, back, ankle?
He's looking like Michael Thomas right now.
Right. So it's like, wait, say that again?
like Michael Thomas right now. Your boy. Michael Thomas had turf toe and he's going to miss the entire season.
Michael Thomas doing this on purpose, man. He wants out of New Orleans. I don't know why they ain't figured this out yet, man. He said
it's been 3 years of him saying he wanted out of the season.
He said, yo, the best AB impression that he can, and y'all not catching the trick, man. I mean, it came back just in long enough for him to show y'all that he was the man and then leave again. Like, just so y'all know I can still do this.
Anthony Davis, though.
Yeah.
Like, as hard as difficult as it was to find a trade for Russ, what does the package look like for Anthony Davis? Like, I can't think of, like, a team that could really, really use him and, like, really needs him that would want to give up a bunch of stuff.
How much are you getting paid?
I want to say, like, 27, 28 mil a year.
He's going to stay right where he at.
I think he's got, like, 2 more years left on his
He's going to stay right where he at. For 2 more years. It's just there's no package that you could put together where you could convince somebody that he could come in and give instant production. Because he's still recovering. He's still not 100%. And he's still not the AD that people wanted and sought after before. So what is pushing me to add you to my team, knowing that things could potentially get way worse before they get better?
Defensively, he still looks great. Like, he's still where he needs to be. He's still covering guards and bigs like very well. It's offensively where he's really, really struggling.
Yes.
And like I was trying to come up with like some teams that were just like who could use AD as like a third or fourth option offensively.
I ain't got front. I would trade Pumpkin for AD.
I mean, of course you would. The Lakers ain't taking that, like, you know what I'm saying? Unless you're throwing in mad draft picks.
We'll throw them too. 2
first rounders?
No.
This brother, this ain't 2K. That's not how this works, yo. No. That trade we get, they would be like, we have a counter offer, and you would say, and you were like, yeah, we're declining this. What are you talking about?
Listen, man, we gotta stay in the sweepstakes for that 7th floor.
That Wembanyama?
that new version of KD.
I thought he was going to go straight to the Spurs, but for some reason the Spurs are deciding to be good.
Yeah.
All right, you want to talk about surprise teams? Spurs are surprisingly good. But the Jazz are the number 1 team in the West, bro? What in the hell is that?
What changed?
So they make 2 big trades.
Okay, tell me.
One of the trades was Rudy Gobert.
Who?
Rudy Gobert.
Who? Your boy.
Yeah, defensive player of the year, Rudy Gobert.
Okay.
Two time? 3 times?
That's what's up. What's up.
And another player was Donovan Mitchell.
Okay.
Your boy?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's on the Cavs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so now they're the number 1 team in the West.
Wow.
Behind Kyle Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, Lauri Markkanen, for some reason looks amazing, Jared Vanderbilt.
They won again tonight.
Did they really?
I think so.
Who'd they play? You know? If you don't know. It's whatever. But the West, the top 2 teams in the West are the Jazz and the Portland Trailblazers. What the hell is going on? Lakers.
I don't know about Portland Trailblazers. I can't tell you about that one. But I don't know, man. I feel like Portland always starts off like really well balanced. And as soon as they get close to that playoff time, the whole team turns into Paul George. So it doesn't really matter.
Wow. I thought you were going to say, like, that was like, strays to Paul George for no reason. I thought you were going to say, like, turns into pumpkins.
Yeah.
I thought it was like turns into pumpkins, all that stuff. It was like, nope. Went straight for that one.
Yeah, it is what it is.
But then you brought it up very briefly. One of the teams that are struggling right now. So, like, besides the Nuggets and, like, maybe the Mavericks, like, the top 5 teams in the West don't look like our normal top 5 teams in the West. Like, we have teams that are struggling, the Lakers, but then more importantly, the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, I've heard a Super Bowl hangover. I haven't heard a championship hangover.
What's the difference?
I just never seen a team in the NBA that's, like, won a championship drop so low early in the season after winning a ring. Like, you see that sometimes with the Super Bowl because football is kind of like any given Sunday. Like, things can really switch up really quickly. But you don't really, like, if you come into the league and you're really competitive with an NBA team, you usually don't lose that for a few years if things don't really go wrong. You know what I mean? And the 2 major things that I can see that has happened since the start of the season was Clay seems to really be struggling with managing his emotions on the court. I've seen some of it recently from Steph and the whole Draymond Poole situation. It doesn't seem like it takes more, like I said, more than just throwing a few stars on a team. Like, there has to be chemistry. There has to be teamwork. Those guys have to care about winning together. And they don't seem like their locker room is clean enough for them to be winning games and enjoying doing it together. Regardless of whatever front they're putting out there on the court, you can clearly see that there is something wrong and it's affecting their play.
This is a weird take.
Okay.
I want you to follow me down this real quick.
Okay.
This is nothing to do with, like, really this specific season. I mean, it kind of does, but, like, it's more of like a grand scope thing.
Okay.
If you would have asked me 3 or 4 years ago, would Steph, Clay, and Draymond play their entire careers and retire as Warriors, I would have saw that being like almost a 100% certainty. With the way things have gone because of this offseason and primarily this season, do you think that that's feasible anymore?
No.
Do you think that, like, so do the Splash Brothers stay and Draymond is the one that has to go?
No.
Who goes? Do you think any of the 3 stay and remain Warriors for the rest of their career?
Steph's never leaving.
Okay, so Steph's there.
Steph's never leaving.
So between Clay and Draymond.
If I had to pick between those 2, I'm picking Draymond.
Staying?
No, to go. Because I feel like the whole Splash Brother things works. But I always felt like Clay wanted to be a leader of his own team.
I think he's past that now, though, because of, like, the injuries and, like, all that stuff. Like, I don't know if, like, he can do that anymore. So, like, what team would he realistically go to be, like, another second banana when it's like, why do that when I'm already doing that here? They love me here. I have, like, all this stuff going on here. Like, they clearly want me here, it seems like. Do you think, like, do you think he would push a trade? Or would he just be like, my contract's up and I'm just going to sign somewhere else?
Yeah, it would be a contract being up thing. I don't think he would push a trade. I don't think he would.
Do you think the Warriors would trade him if the right name came along? If there was, like, a package.
And in the end all be all, it's still a business.
It's true. Do you think, like, all right, so I'm going to throw some names out. If the right package came along, let's just say it ends up being Clay, Kuminga, Moody, and, like, a first-round pick, Devin Booker.
Yes.
Bradley Beal.
No.
I
only say Devin because of his youth.
I'm pretty sure, like, him and Bradley Beal aren't that far along from each other.
Yeah, but I'm saying no to Bradley Beal because Booker's talent is different.
The thing is, I don't really have like a third person, so I was really trying to like talk.
I
to
don't know
you
how
like,
Bradley Beal would fit into the Warriors.
What's the difference between him and Clay? Besides the fact that Clay plays better defense. Well, used to play better defense.
He plays better defense and he's a better shooter.
I mean, he's a better spot-up shooter. Bradley Beal's a better scorer.
Yeah, but I mean, now he's trying to get into the paint to get those buckets, which is a lot of what Jordan Poole does when he's not shooting the ball at the higher clip. And now you get that clogging, and then now it's easier to play defense on Steph because you're not spreading the court as much, and it changes up your offense.
Is that what it is? Is there just too many cooks in the kitchen, where it's like there's not enough ball to go around, where it's like you have to feed Steph, Clay, Poole, the new Kuminga, Moody, Wiseman.
I don't want to say yes because what's really changed in that after winning a championship?
Well, people are older. They're whatchamacallit. Now their stars are rising a little bit. People want more minutes. Jordan Poole is playing for a contract, isn't he?
No, him and Andrew Wiggins both got new contracts.
Yep, Andrew Wiggins got one.
Both got paid.
I completely forgot about Andrew Wiggins.
They both got paid. They both won a ring. They're both still on the same championship team that you just won with. What is the problem?
It's got to be Draymond, isn't it? It's like
it's the chemistry. Like, it's unresolved.
Is there an LA Lakers Anthony Davis Warriors trade
in there? No.
You can't
I don't feel like Anthony Davis fits there either.
You don't think Anthony Davis on the Warriors fits in?
No.
Why not?
I just don't.
If they were like, here's Draymond Green, Wiseman, and Moody, or like
there's stuff that Draymond does for the Warriors that Anthony Davis is not going to be able to do.
Like what?
Facilitate.
That's what he used to do in New Orleans.
Used to. New Orleans is a long time ago.
They're like, hey, Jordan Poole, now it's all you.
You
don't think that's there?
No, I don't think that's there. Right. And then what do you do with Wiseman?
He goes into the trade to the LA.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not giving up that youth.
Does that even help LA? Like LeBron, Draymond, Wiseman, does that help anybody?
Just come take Julius back. Just come take Julius back. Come on, man. You know Draymond don't want to play with LeBron, man. That joke would be bad, man. They have to be fake friends, like are
you kidding me? Draymond's been sucking the soul out of LeBron all summer, bro. Like he was on the shop. He's been on all these things talking about like how great LeBron is. Like he's been singing his praises.
I'm pretty sure that being on the shop comes with a check.
LeBron, can you do something? Hey, Draymond's been on that all summer. What are you talking about, bro?
Yo, we going over the football, man.
Let's move to the blitz. Man, get out of my way. Why about to come through? Once again, line cracking numbers in two. When I ring the payment, what you gonna do? Come on, shake out your shoes, clean out your locker. I'm out to get you. So I mean, first and foremost, we gotta talk about this 2-minute draw. I've been on a two game win streak. I was on a slide. I was down 5-1. I was getting cracked all this year.
So now you're down 3-5.
To whatchamacallit, to quote the other AB, I'm getting cooked. I was getting cooked. But I was like, I made like a strong little comeback. You know what I mean?
You won 2 games.
I won 2 weeks. Last week I won 10-3.
No.
Like,
okay.
To quote urban philosopher Kanye to the West, can I talk my shit again? Like, can I just a little bit? Damn.
Go ahead.
That was really all I had. I'm not, I'm not a big stack talker like that. I'm a pretty gracious one.
You.
You know what I mean?
And yeah, I'm up 3-5.
Yeah, you up
3. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, man, we're turning this ship around. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting these first picks again. That's kind of changing the game a little bit. But the most important thing was we had the trade deadline pass. We actually had like a record amount of trades. Like there was like 10
really?
Trade deadlines.
Didn't get anybody.
Who cares, bro? You guys got Devontae Adams and you guys are doing nothing with him. Let us see what.
We are tanking to get CJ Stroud.
There's no way that this is happening on purpose. There's no way. The Raiders are not doing this on purpose.
We're going to win this week against the Colts. And then everything else.
I picked them to, so I hope they would.
Everything else is smoke. We want to beat them and the Patriots, and everything else is down.
So let's talk about some of these trade deadline deals. Well, we'll talk about them, and we'll see if they're even worth really having a conversation. We could just either say like which team won, which team lost.
Leave that pen. You don't need it.
The Jaguars traded a fourth round pick that can possibly turn into a second round pick if he resigns to the Falcons for Calvin Ridley.
Boo.
Doesn't matter for either team.
Boo.
Okay. Nyheim Hines got traded to the Bills
Boo.
for Zach Moss and a 6th round pick. Okay.
No, I like Nyheim Hines though. Zach Moss though. They got Zach Moss and who?
A 6th round pick.
I mean, I guess it's fair, but it's not good. I don't think it's going to improve either team. Tremendous.
You don't think it'll improve the Bills? Like, Nyheim Hines is one of the best receiving backs in the league.
No, that's what I like Nyheim Hines, but they have Singletary back there. They already have.
They don't give the ball to Singletary.
Stephon Diggs, like, we'll see.
He's just like, I mean, we know
the guy they have Davis.
I know, but like, you think about just the Indianapolis Colts in general.
Mm-hmm.
And Jonathan Taylor, number 1 running back like in fantasy football last year.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that knows that like when they play the team, like there's always like a quarter or like for some reason where you're like, why is Nyheim Hines getting so much work?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like he does that where he's just like you'll look at the stats at the end of the game. It's like, wait, Nyheim Hines had 40 rushing yards, 30 receiving yards, and a touchdown. Like, what the hell?
Moss gonna be the same thing. He ain't get the ball in Buffalo.
I don't even care about Moss. I think this is more bigger for the Bills type of deal.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just like all it does is just give them like another running back weapon because I don't think that they believe in Devin Singletary.
Gotcha.
I think they're kind of like setting the table to see if James Cook has the things that he's supposed to have, and if not, they're gonna be like, well, we'll just ride this Nyheim Hines thing, see how it goes.
We'll see.
Chase Claypool to Chicago for a 2nd round pick.
That's big. I like that one.
And the thing is, like, they didn't even give the Steelers their own 2nd round pick back. They gave them the Chicago Bears 2nd round pick, which I was like, is that even a good idea?
I mean, yeah, because the Steelers have a worse record, so they'll have a higher pick.
I take that back. They didn't have the Steelers 2nd round pick. They had the Ravens 2nd round pick that they got for trading Roquan Smith, which was the other trade. They traded Roquan Smith to the Ravens for a 2nd and a 5th. And it's like, instead of giving them the Ravens 2nd round pick, they gave them their own 2nd round pick. I'm sure the Steelers were like, yeah, thanks. We'll definitely take that.
Yeah,
we don't give two craps about Chase Claypool anyways, because we got Deontay Johnson and we're trying to give George Pickens more touches anyways. I just have never been the biggest Chase Claypool guy.
I'm just happy to see Justin Field get another weapon.
They did that.
He's on the come up.
They did that while trading away Roquan Smith at the same time, though.
Yeah.
So what are they really doing? So any thoughts on the Chase Claypool thing? Like, who wins, who loses, or is the trade just a poo-poo trade all over?
No, I like it because, like I said, it adds another weepon for Justin Fields.
I do think a 2nd round pick is a bit too much for Chase Claypool.
It definitely is a bit too much.
I think they definitely overpaid for that one,
especially when it's your own and not the Ravens pick.
And then the Roquan Smith.
They should have never let him go. I don't even know what happened there. Whatever he needed to be happy and stay there, you should have gave it to him.
He's been an All-Pro like his entire career.
Yes,
for the most part. Like he's still on his rookie contract.
Yes.
What are you doing? I think this year is when his contract ends, though.
That's probably what the problem was. So they probably knew he wasn't going to resign.
Okay. T.J. Hawkinson to the Vikings for a 4th round pick.
Boo.
I think it was a big pickup for the Vikings. I don't know why they got rid of him only for a 4th round pick, but who am I? And then lastly, there was 2 Miami Dolphins trades. We get Bradley Chubb and a 5th round pick to Miami for Chase Edmonds, a 1st round pick and a 4th round pick. This was the last of the 1st round picks that the Miami Dolphins had gotten from the Laramie Tunsil trade.
Mm-hmm.
Those 1st round picks have turned into Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Bradley Chubb. I mean,
valid.
So like now they get Bradley Chubb.
Chubb's like the Walmart Von Miller, so hopefully he get a new start in Miami and beat him again.
Yeah. So there's that one, and then there's Jeff Wilson, the 3rd string running back now for the San Francisco 49ers to the Dolphins for a 5th round pick. Jeff Wilson already scored a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that.
I like Jeff.
I think both of these trades I was very A-okay with. It seems like the Dolphins organization,
like the San Francisco Dolphins,
100%, absolutely. But it also seems like they're all in.
Yeah,
they're not holding back.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they initially we know the story. Tom Brady was going to come and he was going to be the Dolphins quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They wound up botching that whole thing. They lost all those picks, all that stuff or whatever. And I think they were really looking at it and they were just like, can Tua do this? Mm-hmm. Or are we just going to be placeholding this for when Tom Brady's contract's up in Tampa Bay and he's going to come here anyways? Mm-hmm. And Tua's been phenomenal so far this season. I think that's a fair word. Fantastic.
Desirable.
All right, that was a weird word, but it's like I would
like him to be. So I would like him to be in the black and silver jersey. If y'all gonna get Tom, give us Tua.
Oh wow, I did not see that coming. Really?
I'm all set, baby. I'm all set.
Oh, you're way off this Derek Carr bandwagon. I'm all
set, bro. I took him off my fantasy team and everything.
Tua or C.J. Stroud?
C.J. Stroud.
All right, just checking. So yeah, that's all of the trade deadline trades. I think like there's more stories about trades that didn't happen. Apparently, the Packers tried to get both Darren Waller and DJ Moore. Apparently, going as far as to offer the Panthers a first-round pick for DJ Moore, and they still said no. And then I think they offered a second and a fifth for Darren Waller, and the Raiders said no, or something like that. Would you have? Well,
no, I wouldn't have took it.
I was gonna say you were ready to give up on Waller the baller.
I wouldn't. No,
if they would have offered a first-round pick for Darren Waller, what would you have said?
Yes.
And it would have been a Packers first-round pick.
Yeah, I probably had to take a first and a fourth though.
First and a fourth. What do you think? This ain't Madden, bro.
Don't care.
That's not how it works.
I don't care.
Then this last week we had a couple pretty big performances. We had Joe Mixon.
5 touchdowns in one game.
4 and a half time, bro.
Yeah.
I feel bad for.
Were they all rushing? Were some receiving?
Some? He had 3 rushing and 2 receiving. If I'm not. Sheesh. No, 4 rushing, 1 receiving.
Sheesh.
And I feel bad for anybody that had to play Joe Mixon in fantasy football. I think that since the Super Bowl era, he's like the 9th player that's ever had 5 touchdowns in one game. He is like the 6th highest single fantasy player point performance. So that he has like the most touchdowns ever scored in one game by a Bengal. He broke like a ton of records. It was insane.
It's in history.
I don't understand why they had to do the Panthers like that. Like what did
they barely beat him though? Didn't they barely beat him?
No.
No.
They were up like 35
to 25 or something like that.
Yeah, they were up like 35 to like 7 at one point. It was crazy. And then the other big performance, and I think what deserves like a little bit of time for us to talk about, is the Justin Fields, bro. You turned your face like, what did you think that I was going to bring up?
I thought you was going to bring up Devontae Adams because he finally had like a $146 and 2 touchdowns, but we still lost to the freaking Jags.
You want to do Raiders now instead?
No, we're just going to say we're the worst team in the league and we're going to keep it moving. My heart hurts.
You think the Raiders are the worst team in the league?
Before I thought it was the Pats. The Pats are winning.
And you've been on this Panthers or the Jaguars bandwagon the whole time.
And then I said it was the Jags. And the Jags beat the Raiders. What else am I supposed to say other than we have a worse record and we lost to the team that was supposed to be the worst in the league?
Well, you guys are about to play the Colts. Do you think that the Colts are going to beat you guys too?
I hope not. But
well, so aren't the Colts the worst team?
If we beat the Colts? No.
Do you think that your team is worse than the Colts team?
I don't think we're worse than any of the teams that we lost to other than the Chiefs.
Well, wouldn't that make you the worst team if like you think that your team is the worst? If the other team that you're playing you think is worse than you, then how does that make you the worst? Granted, like you lost, which is like, as we talk about football, it's like any given Sunday, like things happen for the most part.
These have been many different Sundays, though.
What is your guys' record? You guys have 2 wins?
Yes.
And then, but like you guys all, the Broncos aren't doing very well either.
No.
You guys were supposed to be
the best division in football to the worst.
Well, you guys are on paper the best division in football.
Yes.
Because, like, you know who the actual best division in football is?
NFC East.
The AFC East. If the playoffs started today, 3 out of the teams in our division would make the playoffs. The only team that wouldn't make it would be the Patriots.
It's the same thing for the NFC East. You have undefeated 6-2, 6-2, 6-2.
Who's the other 6-2? Cowboys aren't 6-2.
Yes, they are.
Cowboys are 6-2. I thought they had 5 wins.
No, it's the Cowboys,
the
Commanders, and the Giants. They all have the same record. The Commanders might be 1 game below, but I know the Giants and the
You trying to tell me that the Commanders might have 5 wins on this season?
Yes.
That sounds bananas to me.
I'll let you know right now. Because you want to know what's the next thing to go to?
No, so we'll talk about Justin Fields.
Yep.
Like, I couldn't tell you, like, how infuriated I was at Buffalo Wild Wings this past Sunday watching this man just run all over this team. And it's like, I know you see the clips.
Commanders are 4-5, but then you got 6-2, 6-2, 8-0.
Okay, all right. I retract my previous statement.
Yours is, I mean, you could say it, but you don't have it undefeated, but you got 6-2, 6-3, 6-3, and then 5-4 with the Patriots.
Okay.
So
I just wonder what the NFC looks like. Would they be the other wild card team? Because that would be the case. Is we would have both wild card teams. It'd be us and the Jets.
I mean, but the NFC also has another 6-3 team and a 7-1 team.
The what?
They have another 6-3 team and a 7-1 team.
Okay. But like, yeah, Justin Fields this last month has been, and this is only speaking of fantasy football terms because this obviously isn't like real football terms. He's been the best quarterback for this last month.
Yep.
He went from being like one of the worst quarterbacks, you could pick him off on waiver wires, and people were staying away with him with a 10-inch pole, and it's like now he's like the number 7 overall quarterback in fantasy because it's like he's insane right now, and like he's literally throwing like 12 passes.
Did you see your coach's interview?
Well, yeah, I was getting ready to say that before you started reading that. And she was just like, I was just saying, stop. Like, stop running. And like, I was getting really pissed off because he wasn't listening.
To the coach's advice.
Bro, like, so I was at Buffalo Wild Wings, and there was another Dolphins fan.
Was you sweating?
No, because we were up at 2 touchdowns at one point in time, and it wasn't the
sweat. They only won by 3.
Eventually, yeah, they closed the gap.
Yeah.
But it was just like every time that they did something, like we just scored again, and then it was like then they scored twice, but it was pretty late, so I never really thought I wasn't too worried, but like I was just getting so pissed off because like it's this thing, and like the Panthers used to do this with Christian McCaffrey the whole time too, where it's just like there's one guy, it's one guy, like what are you doing? Like why is it so hard? Like Darnell Mooney's ass, Chase Claypool's ass, Cole Kmet is ass. It's just Justin Fields running around looking. Like, he's running, 60-yard scampers. What the fuck are you guys doing? Like, what is going on?
Oh, my brother was feeling like he was at home, man.
But it's just like, where's the spy? Like, where's this stuff? Like, why do we have both safeties up? Put one safety back. He's not throwing. He throws 12 times a game. He's the best, he's the best quarterback this last month, and he literally has thrown for 140 yards or some shit like that. Like, it's just like, what are you doing? He's going to run. It's like, you know what it is? It's like when you watch the Saints play and Taysom Hill comes in and everybody looks around like, what's going to happen? Taysom Hill's going to fucking run the ball. That's what he does every time he comes in the game. He's going to run the ball, especially if he lines up at quarterback. They're going to give it to him and he's going to run straight up the gut. It's what always happens. And it's like, I don't understand how this hasn't been figured out yet.
Because he's nice.
Sure, he is. But we say all that to then say that was the 2021 draft, if I'm not mistaken, and that was the
who, Justin Fields?
Yeah.
No, it's his second year in the league, right? So it'd be 2020 draft.
Okay, so that's Trevor Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
That's Zach Wilson, Trey Lance. Mm-hmm. Who else am I missing? Davis Mills.
Wasn't Jake Fromm a part of that too?
Jake Fromm.
When probably. Justin Fields transferred from Georgia to Ohio State?
Probably, sure.
He might be a year ahead of him. I could be wrong.
It's Justin Fields? If you redo the draft, Justin Fields has got to be the number 1 quarterback, right?
Yes.
And it's
I said that from the gate, but it was no, Trevor Lawrence. All right, you'll figure you'll see.
Because at the time, that was the whole thing, whereas I still don't 100% believe that the Jaguars have done what they're supposed to for Trevor Lawrence. He has had moments.
Was Burrow that draft too?
No. Burrow was
he was a year
before.
After.
Before.
He went before. You sure he went before Justin Fields?
They went to the Super Bowl last year, and then the year before was his first year. Is this Justin Fields' third year in the league? No, it's got to be the second year.
Yeah. You're right. My bad.
Because he was a rookie last year.
Yes.
Because that was the whole Trey Lance thing too. That's yeah.
Oh yeah, Trey Lance was. Yep. All right. Yep. You got it.
How it's so crazy. When you re-look at it, it's if you just make that switch, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Jaguars with Justin Fields, how different that team looked with the Travis Etienne, Christian Kirk, all that other stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
You move Trevor Lawrence down 1, he goes to the Jets, and then he gets Garrett Wilson Jr., Elijah Moore, Tyler Conklin, Breece Hall. That team looks amazing too. And then it's when you get down to the other ones, it's we still don't know how good Trey Lance is going to be or whatever. But it's just it's just interesting to like go back and look at stuff, and it's just like this one player. If you just move them, like how different franchises change.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears would still be butt cheeks, but I still think like I still don't think the Bears are that good. I just don't think they're a good team at all. And I feel like them giving him Chase Claypool is like the here nigga damn. It's like one of those. It was like when Steph Curry was just like, damn Aisha, all right, you look good. Like if somebody please tell her that she look good. Like you know what I mean?
Wow.
It's just like
holy moly.
I don't know about the holy moly one. I don't know.
It's a TV show.
I know what you're doing. I'm just saying. It didn't go over my head, and that's why I'm saying no. But damn, now I completely lost like what I was saying. But it's just like it just seemed like a frivolous thing, whatever. Because like that team around him is still garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Like the offensive line is garbage. Darnell Mooney should not be your wide receiver 1. He should be your wide receiver 3 in the slot.
Mm-hmm.
And like Chase Claypool is like another one. It's like he's like your big outside threat. Like what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
So like it's gonna be interesting because it's like I'm wondering how long he can keep it up for.
Mm-hmm.
But like I guess like we'll see.
Okay. We got one more topic. I think we can skim over the Eagles because we know where they at. All right.
How long do you think they remain undefeated?
I mean, how about this? Well, they play the Commanders this week.
Yeah.
So at least for another week.
Are the Eagles for real? I guess is the better question. Not how long can they remain undefeated.
No.
Because like as much as they're the only undefeated in the league, everybody just keeps saying the best team in the league is the Bills.
Commanders, dub. Colts, dub.
Yep.
Packers, dub.
Mm-hmm.
Titans,
dub.
Giants, that could go either way.
So that's probably the big matchup.
That could be the big matchup. If they do make it past there, Bears a dub. Cowboys could be a big matchup.
They just beat the Cowboys. But yeah, you're right. You're right.
Could be a big matchup.
Who knows?
Saints, dub, and then they have to play the Giants again. So I think that Cowboys game.
So they're all in division. They're in their own division is like where their only competition is.
Yes.
Are they real enough if we get to the AFC Championship game and it is the Eagles lined up, or I'm sorry, if they make it to the Super Bowl because they're an NFC team.
So
they make it to the Super Bowl, and on the other side of the field is either the Kansas City Chiefs or the Buffalo Bills. Mm-hmm. Do you believe that the Philadelphia Eagles have enough to do it to take it?
No.
What are
I'm
they
not saying that to be a hater or anything like that. I've said this to Eagles fans. I've said this on like forums that I've been in or like a live chat or whatever it is. The one thing that concerns me about the Eagles is the fact that they don't have any experience on the team. They are a very young team at this point.
Okay.
So like they're really riding this wave of playing great football. But you already know how you have to transition into the playoffs and the things that it takes to win a championship. And they don't have anybody on their team that knows how to do that.
Didn't they just win a championship like 3 years ago?
None of these players were there.
Wasn't Goddard there?
Who?
Dallas Goddard.
Who?
Dallas Goddard.
Who?
Dallas Goddard. He's like one of the 10 best tight ends in the league.
So he's going to be the one to lead people.
Wasn't Lane Johnson there? Wasn't Jason Peters there?
These are the guys.
Wasn't Fletcher Cox there?
No. Fam, listen. These guys are not the guys that everybody are rooting for on Sundays, all right? They're looking at Jalen Hurts, right? Who's their little spicy running back?
Miles Sanders? Wasn't Miles Sanders on the team?
I don't believe so.
I think Miles Sanders was there for the championship.
I don't believe so.
This is how I know if he's watching or not. My boy, Trigger Trey OVO, Trey Moore. I need you to call it. You the Eagles expert out here. 2018 Eagles roster was Miles Sanders on that team because like I think that there's a good amount of holdover on there. I think their big playmakers are not the same, but like for the most part, like I said, like Jason Peters is still a big deal. Lane Johnson is still a big deal. Like, what you got? Who else you got there? Because who else would be their running back? Who was the Eagles' last running back? LaShawn McCoy? Wasn't Shady?
I'm getting to it. Their running back was.
I swear, if you say Darren Sproles, I'm gonna stab myself.
Wendell Smallwood? This can't be right.
That was the backup running back.
I gotta get a different roster.
All I'm saying is like I think on the defense there's quite a bit of layovers as well. Like, I've never been 100% a believer in the whole you had to have been there before to win it again thing, or like experience and all that stuff matters, because I think luck, preparation, and chemistry and skill are like way more important than like a lot of those things.
Jay Ajayi
was not the starting running back.
Josh Adams, Corey Clement.
Almost about
Boston Scott.
Yep, Boston Scott's still in the team.
Darren Sproles.
Darren Sproles was on that team.
Mm-hmm.
You are lying to me right now. I know that this is killing what should we call it, like airtime right now.
Malcolm Jenkins, DeAndre Hall.
He's not on the team no more.
I know. Chris Long.
Miles Sanders was the very next year. He joined the team in 2019. Jay Ajayi was a starting running back?
I'm trying to tell you, man.
That can't be. I'm going to have to go with like Clement or something like that, because like to me, a starting running back sounds wild.
Tell me who the starting running back was.
I was about to say Nick Foles, Carson Wentz. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all I'm saying is like, I don't think that you need to have been there before to win it. Like, that's not 100%. Like, what you need, like, the Rams just won it. And, like, a lot of those guys have never won anything before, like, at any point in time. A lot of the people on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
have made it that far and lost before.
The Rams did? Like, to the the NFC?
That all makes a difference, though. It all makes a difference.
I guess.
You make it to a lengthy run in the playoffs and lose, then you start to learn why you couldn't stamp the ticket, and then you make those adjustments.
I think there's also the other part of it too, where it's like if you're always the bridesmaid, never the bride, that you could kind of get in your head on that, where it's just like, yo, am I really about to do this again and not make it here? I feel like that could be a Buffalo Bills thing.
True.
Like, you know what I mean? Where it's like all that can happen. And like looking at the team, I know we talked about it differently earlier in the year, but like as time has passed, looking at the team, the Chiefs don't look like that no more, bro.
No, I believe it.
Besides Travis Kelce, like the receiving options just look kind of crazy. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire looks better, but like that defense, bro.
Pacheco look better than Clyde.
I can't disagree. Forget it. You know what I mean?
So we'll see.
It's just one of those things where it's like they have like a ton of weapons, and it's like.
And who's disrespectfully wearing the number 10 on Kansas City?
Is there somebody on there?
Yes, somebody.
It's not
wears
Juju, right?
10.
Juju wears like 8 or
Juju wears number 9.
Is it 9?
But there is some dude out there wearing number 10.
Is that Kadarius Toney? That they just got from the Giants?
It's possible. But I'm just like, bro, you look weird. You look weird. And our last one is so we have 3 New York teams with 6 wins.
Yep.
How is it fool's gold? How should New York fans feel about having 3 teams with 6 wins?
I think they should be excited, first and foremost. But like, I think if I was to say the Giants, it seems like for the most part they hadn't played the Eagles yet. So like they still have 2 games against
the Eagles.
They did beat the Cowboys earlier this year.
That means they have one more.
Right, they have another one. They have another one with the Commanders. So like that's just in their division.
Right.
I don't know what the rest of their schedule looks like, but like I do believe that it's a bit of fool's gold. I do like Brian Daboll, their coach, Daboll. I think he's an amazing coach, and like he seems to kind of like give them the freedom, and it's like actually puts them in places to win, or only ask them to do what they're actually good at doing. But like I feel like Daniel Jones is still Daniel Jones, bro, and it's like he will blow this for you some way somehow.
Danny Dimes.
Yeah, because like there was a point earlier in this year where he had gotten hurt, and the backup quarterback had gotten hurt, and Saquon Barkley was playing quarterback for like a minute.
Hey,
and they still wound up winning that game. But it's just like I do think it's a bit of fool's gold, because like they're one Saquon injury away, and it's like from what we've seen of Saquon his entire time in the league, it's like, is that unlikely that he gets hurt?
No.
And the Jets, I think it's fool's gold too, only because I think
they beat Buffalo.
They did. I think the defense is legit. I think the defense is no joke. Yeah,
because their coordinator is their head coach is
Saleh
from San Fran, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the defense is if not the best defense in the league, it's one of the 3 to 5 best defenses in the league. To Zach Wilson, though, man, like he still does things from time to time where like it reminds you, it's like this dude's not ready.
Nope.
He's not ready. And like honestly, they looked better with Flacco in the beginning of the year. And it's like if you're telling me that the savior of this team is going to be Joe Flacco at quarterback, I don't believe in that. They're also in the same division as Miami and Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
We've already beat. No, we lost to them because I was Tua died.
Yep.
That was the game Teddy Bridgewater died too. We had our third string quarterback in. And
that was that game?
That was that game. And we got smacked. We got smacked by like 30. So it's like you got that game under your belt, and then like the Buffalo one is just that's the Buffalo one.
Right.
They beat the Patriots and stuff like that. So, but it's like I feel like circumstances have just gone their way. Like their defense has won their game for them, like making up for the offensive mistakes. And at some point in time, that's going to run out. Do I think that they're good enough that they could be a wild card team? Absolutely. But I think like the road to get there is a lot more difficult than it looks like.
Space.
Yeah.
It's taking up space. Buffalo, though.
What about them? I'm not worried about that loss. Like, those just happen. I think like everyone else believes that Buffalo is the best team in the league right now.
In the league?
The league. Who's better than them? Who's a team that, like, you look at them and you're like, oof, Buffalo better watch out. They're playing this team. I feel like every time that they walk into a stadium, whatever team that they're playing is like, shit, we got to play the Bills.
Right. Yeah, I guess.
Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, just looked at amazing. The defense is stout. Even like, I don't know, man. They look like they're having fun. To me, like that's always the mark of this team is great when they're really, really having fun. Like remember when like LeBron and those Cavs were winning and like they had like different celebrations. They were like pretending to be bowling pins, and it was like they wound up getting smacked by the Spurs and stuff like that. But it was just like
Philly did the stomp the yard.
Yeah, the stomp the yard. Oh my goodness. I hate how much I'm loving Philly this year. When I went to that Philly game, I was in there like, hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished.
Listen, I think it's dope. And Stephon Diggs is making it his business to kill every corner.
Oh my goodness, bro.
And business is good.
I gotta say, I love it too. Like, cause I miss like the Ocho Cincos and the TOs of the world.
I can't remember what game it was, but there was one tunnel to come out onto the field.
It was the last one.
And Stephon Diggs and whoever it was talking crazy to each other.
Was it the Packers? Was it Jair Alexander?
It might have been.
It was somebody. It was. I'm thinking yellow jerseys.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not the Steelers, but it was definitely like a top corner. And I was like, yo, don't talk to him like that. And he still wound up torching his ass. Cooked him.
Bye.
But that's really all I had, bro. You got anything?
Yeah, man. No, I'm excited, man.
How you feeling about this new format with the chopping the videos up?
I think it's. I mean, for me, it's the same thing. Still get to enjoy podding, but I think for our viewers,
it is 2:30 in the morning. Bro.
I think for our viewers, it's gonna be pretty dope for them.
Okay.
You know what I mean, because if I don't want to watch something about TV, I want to get right to sports, I can just watch that. So I think the timestamps were dope, and they still will be helpful in each segment. But I think this makes it a little more easier to chew.
Okay.
All right. Hopefully y'all agree.
Well, that was the final part that we had. This was part 4.
Hey.
Get that 4 because now my 4 blow, your CO won't grow.